share. Just a minute. All right, I'm back. I was trying to correct. There's an error in sharing my screen. I'm not able to share my screen, which is being corrected. But meanwhile, I can draw for you. I can draw for you this, what I intend to share with you. So I will draw for you, and then I will of course show you in the webcam types of inheritance. So there are, first of all, there are 5 types of inheritance: single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. Those are the 5 types of inheritance that we have. So remember what we had said about inheritance. Please don't forget that inheritance is the nature, is the way in which we can create new classes from existing classes. These new classes have the same properties of the existing classes. So these are the 5 types of inheritance: single, multiple, multi-level, hierarchical, and hybrid. So we have single inheritance, we have multiple inheritance, we have multi-level inheritance, we have hierarchical inheritance, and then we have hybrid inheritance. So these are types of inheritance. This will come in very handy, especially as we continue with the units. They are going to be very, very important. Okay, so I think let me point this to a webcam. I think you can see this. So these are the types of inheritance. Yeah, so the single inheritance, multiple, multi-level, hierarchical, and hybrid. Now let's begin with single inheritance. A single inheritance is where a subclass or a child class inherits from one superclass. So one child class inherits from one superclass. Now let me show you how this works. Single inheritance. Single inheritance. So you can have a parent class called animal, and then under animal you can have a child class. There are different types of animals: carnivores, herbivores, and such things. So we can have carnivore, right? So now this is what we call single inheritance. I hope you can all see this diagram. Yeah, this is what we call single inheritance. Single inheritance is where one parent, there is one parent. Now this class called animal here is a parent class, and this called carnivore is a subclass. So a subclass inherits from a superclass. A subclass inherits from a superclass, meaning that if all animals have different features, so carnivores have the properties of an animal. Can you get that? Carnivores have the properties of an animal. We can also have another example of single inheritance. Let's have another example of single inheritance. We can have something like cars. So this is example 1. Let's have example 2 where we have cars, and cars we have land cars, land vehicles. So look at this example 2 here. So we have this class called cars or vehicles, then we have land cars. All right, so land cars are things like what? Like motorbikes, vehicles that move on land. Yeah, so these cars have the properties of land cars. Now for instance, I can say that cars have the following properties. All cars use fuel. All right, so I can say that all cars use fuel. All cars use fuel. All cars use fuel. So that is the property. All cars use fuel. Let me have this so that you can see it better. All cars use fuel. This is one property of all cars. So by default, it means that also the land cars can also use fuel, because the whole thing about inheritance is that the child classes can inherit, or the child classes inherit the properties of their parents. Are we together? So single inheritance is where we have one parent class and one child class. Okay, one parent and one child. Now let's have another one. Let's have multiple inheritance. Now in multiple inheritance, the subclass derives from more than one superclass. So multiple inheritance is where we have one subclass but two or more superclasses. Now let me give you a very, very relevant example. For instance, you and your parents, you are a child, you have two parents. Of course, there is no way you could come to the world without two parents, right? So you have two parents. Now you've inherited the properties of those two parents because they are the ones who gave birth to you. So we can call you what? A multiple. We can call that situation a multiple inheritance. We have one child with two or more parents, in this case two parents. Okay, so let us have now an example of a multiple inheritance in drawing. Again, as I have said, I'm not able to share my screen. I'm having issues in sharing screen. It seems my permission to share screen is not there. I don't have permission to share screen, but this will be corrected. But let me now show you a more relevant example of multiple inheritance. multiple inheritance. So we will have a class called wheel as in tire gari, wheel. And then rubber, we are going to have a class called rubber, and these two classes, they form one child class called tire. Now look at how this works. So we have multiple inheritance. So we have two classes. We have rubber and wheel, and they form a tire. In other words, a tire is formed by rubber and wheel. The same way we would say that a tire is formed from the rubber itself and the rim. Okay, the rim is the wheel. Are we together? The rim is the wheel. So this is where a child class is formed from one parent. A child class is formed from two parents, two or more parents. Now let us have another example, and then I'm going to give you an opportunity after this to give me examples of this inheritance. So let me give you another example of multiple inheritance. We can have a parent called monitor, and then we can have a parent called mouse. A parent called monitor and a parent called mouse, and these two classes, they form a child class called a computer. Now look at how that works. So we have monitor and you have mouse, and they form a computer. So we are going to look at another concept later called aggregation and composition, and you're going to see these examples better. But basically, the idea behind multiple inheritance is where we have one child, but we have two or more parents. Are we together? Two or more parents. Then there is number 3, multi-level inheritance. Now multi-level inheritance is where multi-level inheritance is the opposite of single inheritance. Now I think you can remember single inheritance where we had one child and one parent. I think we can also see another one child, one parent, one child, one parent. So single inheritance is the opposite of multi-level. So single inheritance, basically there is one child, but there is one parent, but different child classes that are inherited from it. So this is how multi-level inheritance works. So you can have something like this. You can have a parent called vehicles. All right, so you can have a parent called vehicles. Then under vehicles you will have one child called land vehicles. And then under land vehicles we are going to have a truck or a lorry. Now this is what we call multi-level inheritance, where we have one child, we have this child, this parent is a child of this parent is a child of this one. Okay, so this is a child class. This child class has a parent class, this one, land vehicle is a child of vehicles. Now normally in these relationships there is what we call an is-a relationship. Is basically written this way. Is-a relationship. There is an is-a relationship, this one, right? An is-a relationship. Now, an is a relationship is basically a relationship where we can say this is a member of this, or this is a part of this, or this is a this. For instance, we can say that in this inheritance, multi-level inheritance, in multi-level inheritance, you can say a truck is a land vehicle. All right, a truck is a land vehicle, and a land vehicle is a what? Is a vehicle. Can you see that? So a truck is a land vehicle, a truck is a land vehicle, and a land vehicle is a vehicle. So this kind of relationship is called an is-a relationship. All right, it's called an is-a relationship. Okay, now then we go to the fourth type of inheritance called hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance is where we have one parent, and then there are different child classes that branch out. All right, that branch out, so it forms something like a tree. So hierarchical is where we have one parent class, and then we have different subclasses that branch out in different levels, like a tree. All right, so now let me give you an example here which you can perceive. So let us have a parent class called vehicles. Let us have a parent called vehicles. Under vehicles, we are going to have two child classes. So we don't call them children, we call them child classes. Okay, and we also don't call them, we call them child classes or derived classes. So under vehicles, I'm going to have two child classes, land vehicle and water vehicle. Okay, land vehicle and water vehicle. Okay, then under land vehicle, I'm going to have two vehicles. So I'm going to have truck and I'm going to have car. Okay, then under water vehicle, I'm going to have a water vehicle is those that ride on the water. So we have things like a boat and a ship. A boat and a ship. So this is called a hierarchical relationship or hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical relationship or hierarchical inheritance. So this is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. Now this is it. So you have hierarchical inheritance. You have a vehicle. Okay, then this vehicle, there are two types of vehicles: land vehicle and water vehicle and water vehicle. Then under land vehicle, we have a truck and a lorry. And under water vehicles, we have a boat and a ship, or a ship and a boat. So this is called hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance is where we have one parent, and then there are different child classes like here, different child classes that branch out as in a tree. So they are related in that manner. They branch out as in a tree. Now, this is how we can say it. We can say from the term, you remember this term here, is a relationship. Yeah, is a relationship. You can remember this term, is a relationship. So here we can say a truck is a what? Is a land vehicle. A lorry or a car is a land vehicle. Okay, a land vehicle. A land vehicle is a vehicle. I hope you understand that. A land vehicle is a vehicle. All right, we can have here a boat and a ship. So we can say a ship is a water vehicle, and a boat is a water vehicle, and a water vehicle is a what? Is a vehicle. So that is what we call hierarchical inheritance. Okay, so I hope you have somewhere where you are writing. I hope you have somewhere where you are, at least you're noting these things down, because I'm going to ask you a question just in a few minutes. Then After hierarchical inheritance, we have the fifth kind of inheritance called hybrid inheritance. Now, hybrid inheritance is a combination of two kinds of inheritances. So we can have a combination of single and multiple. We can have a combination of multiple and hierarchical. We can have a combination of multiple and multi-level. So a combination of any of these inheritances is called a hybrid inheritance. Then you can have a hybrid dog. It is a combination of different genes from different dogs. So hybrid inheritance can look something like this. So we can have let's see how hybrid inheritance looks like. Hybrid inheritance. So here I'm going to use so you have an animal, and the animal I'm going to have carnivores, okay? And the animal is the parent class. Then I'm going to have carnivore. A carnivore is a type of an animal. It's an animal. A carnivore is an animal. So a carnivore is going to be a child class. Then under carnivore, I'm now going to have what? I'm going now to branch carnivore into two child classes. So there can be land carnivores, and there can be what? Water carnivores, land carnivores and water carnivores. Then under land carnivores, you can have tiger and lion. Under land carnivores, we can have tiger and lion. Then under water vehicles, I can have a shark. A shark is a carnivore, right? It eats meat, yeah. And then a whale is not a carnivore. But then you can have the aquatic snake. Now, look at this hybrid inheritance. So it is important that you have your webcam so that you can see what's happening here, these things that I'm showing here. So hybrid inheritance, this is how it looks like. There is an animal, then there's carnivore, then carnivore branches out into two, then also these they branch out into two, okay? Each branches out into two. So up to here, hizi mbili ni single inheritance. This one and this one, they form a single inheritance, the first two classes. And then when it branches out now, this becomes hierarchical. So hybrid inheritance is a kind of inheritance where there are two kinds of inheritances that have been combined together. Now I'm going to unmute you so that you can ask any question that you may have, so that we may interact, so that you may ask questions that you may have. Okay, now you are unmuted, so now it's your time, so that you can ask me questions. So far, what have you learned, or what do you wish that I clarify? So you are unmuted, so I can hear you. I can hear you from this side. Michelle, Sylvia, Mithamo, Thomas, anyone? Whatever you want to be clarified. You can also talk. I have unmuted you. You can talk. I am able to hear you, right? You can also talk. For those who wish to type, you can type. For those who wish to talk, we can talk also. I have unmuted you. Keep Coach, Brandon. Do you have any question? Keep Coach, Brandon, Manasses Muni. Mithamo Thomas. Any question so far, up to that far? Michelle, Sylvia. Any question up to that far? So I'm waiting for questions so that now I can proceed. Yes, Sylvia, what is the name of the type of relationship that is formed by multi-level inheritance? It is called an is-a relationship. Is-a relationship. I had shown it previously. It's called an is-a relationship. Here it is a relationship, Sylvia. Is a relationship. Okay. Yeah. So it is not even the relationship in multi-level inheritance only. It is any kind of inheritance and is a relationship. There is also another relationship called part of relationship. Part of relationship. For instance, we can say, let me show you here. Where is it? Like for instance, when we have this kind of inheritance, the multiple inheritance, we have what is this? Wheel, rubber, and tire. Wheel, rubber, and tire. Wheel, rubber, and tire. So you can see wheel, rubber, and tire. They are part of multiple inheritance. Now we can say that wheel is a part of a tire, and rubber is a part of a tire. So this kind of relationship is called part of relationship. So that's also another kind of relationship, a part of relationship. Part of relation. Let me see if you can see it. Yeah, the part of relationship. Here it is, part of relationship. So you can either use those two terms, is a relationship or part of relationship. Is just basically saying a carnivore is an animal. Okay, carnivore is a animal, something like that. Or a truck is a land vehicle, and a land vehicle is a vehicle. Okay, so is just a way of describing is a relationship. Then part of is where different things are part of one another, different objects are part of one another. So we can say a monitor is a part of a computer. What else? Mouse is a part of computer. So there are those two types of relationship: is a relationship and part of relationship. So based on whichever inheritance you are using, you will be able to know whether it is an is a relationship or a part of relationship. Okay. So for instance, in this relationship here, can you see that? Monitor, mouse, and computer. Is it an is-a relationship or a part of relationship? That's a question. You can also talk. Nimewa unmute. So this relationship which we have here, is it an is-a relationship or a part of relationship? Is it an is-a relationship or a part of relationship? That I have unmuted you. It's a part of, yes, Mithamo. That is good. It is a part of relationship. Yeah, it is a part of relationship. Let's look at another one. This we have what? We have this one. Oh, let me show another one. Let me show another one. Let me show this one. This hybrid inheritance. So in this kind of inheritance hybrid, where we have, what is this? Animal carnivore, and a carnivore, we have land carnivore and water carnivore. Is it an either relationship or a part of? Is it an either or a part of? Is it an is a relationship or a part of relationship? Is it an is a relationship or a part of relationship? That relationship. That relationship is an is a relationship. The reason we are saying it's an is a relationship is because we can say a tiger, where is it? A tiger is a land carnivore, and a land carnivore is a carnivore, and a carnivore is a what? Is an animal. All right, so it's an is a relationship. So there are those two ways of describing how objects relate to one another, whether it is a part of a relationship or it is a kind of a relationship. Okay, all right, now let me give you a question. I want you to draw for me a hierarchical relationship from your understanding. I want you to draw for me a hierarchical relationship, and then I will have your screen, so you'll share your webcam and then I can see it. So I want you to share with me, just draw somewhere a hierarchical relationship that has how many levels? 3 levels. 3 levels. So when I say 3 levels, this is what I mean. Like here, can you see this? So hierarchical relationship. So here in this hierarchical relationship, we have the first level ni parent. Sasa first level ni parent, then the second level ni child, then the third level ni the child of the child. Okay, child of the child. So we have parent class, child, and child of child. Okay, so I want you now to draw for me a hierarchical relationship with 3 levels, but use your own kind of items. Usitumie hizi zenye nimetumia. Use your own kind of items. Please draw. I hope you have something where you can draw. You have somewhere where you can draw it, and then now you can show it. So you can also share your webcam when you are ready to show what you have. You can share your webcam when you are ready to share what you have. So I hope you are drawing. You can also talk. Unmute. Michelle, Sylvia, Mithamo, Andrew, Manasses Munyi. Share your webcam, please. Share your webcam so that I can interact with you. I can see you. Please share your webcam. Please share your webcam. Mithamo Thomas, Michelle, Sylvia, Warren, Lucy Wanjiru, Kipkoech Andrew. And you are also unmuted, so you can speak. I am able to hear your voice, so you can speak. All right. I am able to hear you, so you can speak to me or share your webcam so that ukimaliza kuchora hiyo hierarchical inheritance, I want you to show me kwa webcam ndio nione, so that I can see what you have there. Ama pia unaweza chora kwa computer ukitumia Word. You just draw those two rectangles there. You draw those rectangles there, and then now you can share your screen from your side if you can share your screen. But if you can't share your screen, you can just draw it somewhere in a paper, and then you show me a hierarchical relationship and such things. I want you to show me a hierarchical relationship with 3 levels, the way I've shown you right now. A hierarchical relation, or a hierarchical inheritance. A hierarchical inheritance with 3 levels like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so show me a hierarchical relation. Draw for me a hierarchical inheritance like that, and then you show me over your webcam so that I'm able to see it. Okay, so that I'm able to see it. Okay, Midamo. Let me maximize this. So ecosystem, we have plants, then we have animals, then under animals we have mango. Ingine ni gani? And then under animals we have cow and dog. I think I can see, right? Cow and dog. Then we have under plants we have mango and something else. Mango and something else. All right, whatever it is, but yes, that is right. I also do encourage that when you draw them, thanks Mithamo, I also do encourage that when you draw them, you ensure that you draw them using straight lines like this one. Okay, straight lines. Upate easy lines ni straight. Are we together? Yeah, ensure you draw using straight lines instead of kuonyesha branching. Instead of branching, you draw using straight lines. All right, somebody else to show me. So somebody else to show me a kind of multiple inheritance. This one, multiple inheritance. Somebody else to show me a kind of multiple inheritance. So Multiple inheritance can only have two levels. The first level, where we have the parents, and then the child is only one. So multiple si lazima ikue parents mbili, they can be more, two or more parents. So you can show me a multiple inheritance that has 3 parents and 1 child. 3 parents and 1 child. 3 parents and 1 child. Somebody to draw that for me. So multiple inheritance that has 3 parents and 1 child. Somebody else? So get busy and drawing. 3 minutes is enough so that I can see what you have. So multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance. Show me multiple inheritance. So ensure that you are drawing somewhere. Multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance. Somebody to show me multiple inheritance. Michelle. Abdirashid, you're offline. Sylvia, Lucy Wanjiru, are you guys still online? Lucy Wanjiru, Kipkoech, Brandon, Warren Mondu, Awez Abubakar, Andrew Nagila. Are you guys still online? Can you share your audio, please? Share your audio so that I can hear you. Turn on your audio if it is turned off. I have turned on your audio so I can hear you. So please turn on your audio so that I can hear you. And while we are at it, I hope you are drawing the multiple inheritance so that you can show me multiple inheritance with 3 parents and 1 child. 3 parents, 1 child. Multiple inheritance, 3 parents, 1 child. So once you've drawn, you can share your webcam so that I can see what you have. Yes, multiple inheritance. Think about anything. It doesn't have to be, and it doesn't have to be what we have here. The example that I've just shared with you. It doesn't have to be that. It should be something different and unique. Yeah, the way we had said, you can have wheel and rubber. They make up a tire. Wheel and rubber, they make up a tire. So it is just that what makes up what. It is the same as saying a monitor and a mouse, monitor and a mouse, they make up a what? A computer. So you can have something like this. Yeah. We have two parents and three parents for this case, and one child. So you can share that. Okay, then let's move on. Then I think no one else has I'm not receiving contribution from your end. Well, those are the 5 types of inheritance. So if I ask you, give me 5 types of inheritance, those are the ones. So we are still continuing. We are still at chapter 2, right? Principles of object oriented. So the other principle apart from inheritance is a principle we call polymorphism. Now you're going to get these notes. They are uploaded in your portal, so you're going to get them there. They are there, so you're going to get them and you're going to follow through. I've even guided you which page can you get what. So polymorphism is basically a term that is derived from 2 words, poly and morph. Poly, those 2 words, they are Greek words. Poly means many and morph means forms. Poly is P-O-L-Y and morph is M-O-R-P-H. So polymorphism is the ability of an object to take up many forms. Are we together? Polymorph. Poly means many, morph means forms. So polymorphism is the ability to take up different forms. Now I want you to consider, for instance, in a class we have 2 functions for area. Okay, so in a class called rectangle, we have 3 attributes or 3 data sets. We have length, width, and height. Are we together? Length, width, and height. Then we are going to call that class, shapes instead of rectangle. We are going to call that class shapes. So in class shapes, we have 3 data attributes: length, width, and height. And then we are going to have a function called area. Are we together? So this function called area, we can perform with it two different things. For instance, we can have an area for a rectangle where we're going to have area is equals to length times width. And then in another area, in another part of the code, we are going to have area of a triangle, which is area is equals to 0.5 times length times width. Basically, that is half base times height. Okay, half base times height. It's just the same thing. So area is one function, but it has taken up many forms. In one part, it has taken up the form length times width, but in another part, it has taken up the form 0.5 times length times width. So the ability of different objects in a class to take up many forms is called polymorphism. Okay. Then there is now this term called generalization and specialization. Generalization and specialization. Now, generalization and specialization is a way of representing a hierarchy of relationships, a way of representing a hierarchy of relationships between classes. Now, I want to take you back to is a and part of relationship. Okay. Now this is where now they come in well. Is a relationship and part of relationship. Now, generalization. In generalization, we can say that the common characteristics of classes are combined to form a class in a higher level of hierarchy. That is, subclasses are combined to form a generalized superclass. Now, generalization can be well described by saying there is a relationship. Are we together? So generalization can be well described by saying there is a relationship. We can also say is a kind of relationship, is a kind of relationship, is a kind of relationship. So this is how generalization looks like. Let me show you how generalization looks like. You got a class? I'm in a class. Yeah. All right. So this is how generalization looks like. Let me show you how generalization looks like. The best way to show generalization is using a hierarchical relationship. So generalization looks like this. Is a or is a kind of relationship. Now this is how generalization looks like. Can you see the arrow here? This arrow. Arrow in a point from down going up. This is how to show generalization. Generalization is a way of saying that child classes inherit from parents, and these parents are also child classes of other parents. So generalization describes an is-a relationship. As you can see here, I've written here is-a relationship. Generalization describes an is-a relationship. I'm trying to bring it more visual. An is-a relationship. Beyond the generalization. Generalization just says that a car is a kind of a land vehicle, and a land vehicle is a kind of a vehicle. So a car is a land vehicle, and a land vehicle is a vehicle. So generalization is where now is a relationship comes in. Generalization is a relationship. Then we have specialization. Specialization is the reverse of generalization. Specialization is where it's the distinguishing features of groups of objects. Distinguishing features of groups of objects are used to form specialized classes. So if generalization points up, specialization points down. So this is how it looks like. Specialization. This is how specialization looks like. Let me see if we can see it. Specialization, here it is. Specialization. So can you see the arrow here? The arrow here, specialization, right? So this is specialization. Specialization basically says that parent classes are made up of what? Of child classes. And then generalization says that child classes are made up of parent classes. Specialization says that parent classes are made up of child classes. All right, so that is basically the difference. Generalization is where we show how child classes relate to superclasses. Superclasses are also parent classes. Okay, so when you hear me say superclasses or parent classes or base classes, there are those three terms: superclass, parent, base. Those three terms, they refer to the same thing: superclass, parent class, base class, the same thing. And then you can also hear me talk about derived class, child class, or derived class, or child class, or inherited class. Okay, so when we talk about those three, they describe the same thing. They just talk about a child class. So generalization is basically how we show, it is showing how child classes at the bottom level relate to the parent classes that are above them. Okay, and we normally use the term is a or is a kind of to interpret that relationship. Is a or is a kind of relationship. Then specialization is the general term used to describe how parent classes relate to child classes downwards. So parents and child classes downwards. So you can say an animal, a herbivore and a carnivore. And a herbivore, goats and giraffes. And a carnivore, there are lions and dogs or tigers. So generalization shows upwards and specialization goes downwards, and you can find that in your notes. I have given you in your notes in your portal, so you can see that in your notes. You can see that in your notes. Then the other term is links and associations. Links and associations. A link is a connection through which an object interacts with another object. Okay, it's a connection. A link is a connection. Now, links are normally shown using straight lines or arcs. Straight lines or arcs. Now we are going to see much of that, especially when we begin drawing. In fact, we've not even started drawing yet. There's a lot of drawing that we'll have to do. There's a lot of drawing that we'll do. So a link is basically a connection that connects objects and shows how those objects, they relate to one another. And it's normally done using a straight line or an arc. All right, a straight line or an arc. So a link is a connection through objects to show how they relate with one another. Okay, then association is a description of a link. Association is a description of a link. So whenever you draw objects and then you show with lines between them, whether it is a straight line or an arc, to show how they relate to one another, association is what you write above the link. Are you together? To describe what relationship exists there, what is happening between those two objects, because you've connected them using a line or an arc. Then you have to describe above that line or above that arc what is happening between those two objects, what information is being passed, or what kind of relationship exists between those two objects that you have connected using that link. So an association is a description of a link. All right. So there are three kinds of associations. There are three kinds of associations. Now, the first kind of association is called unary. Unary association. Unary association is UNARY. Unary association. A unary association connects objects of the same class. It connects objects of the same class. Then the second association is called binary association. Binary association connects objects of two different classes. Objects of two different classes that are related to one another. And then number three, we have ternary. Ternary association. Ternary is TERNARY. A ternary association is an association between objects of three or more classes. Now, we are not going to draw those associations because the only way to know them is by interacting with things we call class diagrams, object diagrams, component diagrams, those kinds of diagrams. That is where those associations you're going to see them, where you can connect different objects of the same class or different objects of different classes. So what is a unary association? A unary association, it connects objects of the same class. Are we together? Yeah. And then a binary association, it connects objects of different classes, objects of two classes, from the word bi. Bi means two. Binary, two. Bi means two. Then ternary relationship connects objects of multiple classes, and we are going to see more of that. So then there is what we call cardinality ratios of associations. Cardinality ratios of associations. Now, a cardinality ratio is normally related with a binary association. Are we together? Binary association is which one? Is the one which connects objects of two classes. Tuko pamoja? Objects of two classes. So cardinality ratios are related to binary relationships or binary association. And basically, cardinality, the word cardinality, it is just a term used to denote the number of instances participating in an association. The number of instances participating in an association. Now, you already did database, introduction to database, where you are taught access. Yeah, you are taught access, or you have something like you are taught relationship, how to connect, and I think I taught you databases. So how to connect, how to form relationships between objects. Okay, so I want you to take your picture back there. So whenever you create an object, you create one object and another, and then there is a line. There is a line between those two objects. I think you can remember those. Connect one object and another, and then there's a line that shows that they are related. You create a relationship using what? A primary key. A primary key. I think you can remember that. So that link, that line is called the link. Are you together? The link. It is the one that connects those two objects. Then cardinality ratio is the number, it's the ratio of how many objects interact with how many objects. Okay, now I'm going to show you this, and it's normally done using binary relationships or binary associations. Now there are three kinds of cardinality ratios. Three kinds of cardinality ratios. There is one called 1-to-1. 1-to-1 relationship. We can call it a relationship. 1-to-1 relationship. Now 1-to-1 simply implies that one single object of one class is associated with another single object of another class. Okay, now let me draw for you how a one-to-one relationship, so that you can see how it looks like a one-to-one relationship, or a one-to-one cardinality ratio. 1-to-1. So you have one student can only belong to one course. One to one. Now this is how one-to-one relationships look like. All right, one-to-one relationships, where you say that one student can only belong to one course. One student can only belong to one course. That is called a one-to-one cardinality ratio, and you see how I've represented it here. So unaona venye nimeandika hii association, hii one to one. So hii whatever I've written here, one to one in the figures, one to one is what we call the association. Association is the description of the link. Hii line ndio link. Are we together? The line itself is the link, and then whatever I've described, I've written up there, is what we call the association. How do those two objects relate to one another? That's why it's called an association. How do they associate to one another? So this is how you draw a one-to-one. Okay, one-to-one. And there are different kinds of things that you can have in a one-to-one relationship. For instance, you can say one student can only have one admission number. You have different admission numbers. No, you only have one admission number. So one student has one admission number. You can also say that one Kenyan can only have one ID number. All right, that is a one-to-one relationship. ID number belongs to another class. A class, maybe a class of for instance, a class national citizens, and then the one citizen belongs to another class. So these are two objects of two classes, but they exist in the manner in which they can only be related one-to-one. One student, one admission number. One student, one course. We can also say one Kenyan, one ID number. All right, one car, one driver. So such things. So somebody else to give me a one-to-one relationship. Somebody else to give me a one-to-one. You don't have to draw, but you can say it. You can say it. I am able to hear you. I am able to hear you. So you can say it, or you can type it in the chat. Any one-to-one, one thing to one thing. It's very simple to think that one. Somebody one-to-one. Manasseh Munyi. Orwa Vakis. Hossein Dogata. A one-to-one. A one-to-one. A one-to-one. One student, one admission number. One citizen, one ID number. Somebody? Yes, Warren. One human, one life. Okay. One office, one employee. Yes, Warren, that is right. One office, one employee. One doctor, one patient. Yeah, Abdirashid, that is true. One manual girlfriend. Or do you have a girlfriend in the first place? One man, one girlfriend. But there are people who play polygamous. Or what? There are people who are in polygamous relationships. Anyway, that is a way of thinking about it. All right, okay, let's stop it at that. All right, so that is what we call one-to-one relationship, I think. So remember this, remember the diagram. That is how to describe a one-to-one relationship. That is how a one-to-one relationship looks like. So unachora hii object, na object ni lazima ikuwe kwa box, kwa rectangle hivi, and then object ingine kwa rectangle, then unachora hii link tumelisema ni a straight line ama an arc, ndio? So you also draw the line, alafu you have the cardinality ratio hapo juu, 1 to 1, 1:1. Okay, and then Warren, I can hear you on that issue, and Orwa. All right, let's move on to the other cardinality. The other cardinality is called one to many. One to many. Now, one-to-many association or one-to-many relationship is where a single object of one class is associated with two or more objects of another class. So you have a single object associated to two or more. A single object associated with two or more. Now, an example, we can say one student can be taught by many teachers. Isn't that right? That is right. Why? Because you can be taught by me, you can be taught by another teacher, you can be taught by another teacher. So you have multiple teachers who teach you. So you are one student who can be taught by many teachers in different units. So one student, many teachers. Okay, another one. One student, many clubs or societies. So you can belong to ICT club and ICT club, Muslim society, Catholic society. You can belong to different societies at the same time. You can belong to different sports. So you can say one student can play many sports. So one student like Orwa can play volleyball, can play football, can play tennis, can play golf. So one to many. So one to many is where a single object is associated with many objects. Okay, now let me show you how we draw that. One to many. One to many. So we can say, we can use student and sports. One to many. Now look at this. One to many. Now one to many, you have one object relating to many other objects, but these objects you don't show them how many are they. Unachora tu moja na moja, lakini now kwa hii link ndio itaonyesha one to many. So one student can play many sports. Now how do you represent many? Can you see how kuna hii, do we call it a delta or a confluence? Hiyo inakaa mguu ya kuku hapo, you know that thing there, this one, this ka branch here. Can you see this branch? So that branch is very important when you are showing a one to many relationship. One student relates to many sports. One student can play many sports. You can also say one student takes many units. One student takes many units. So that's another association. Somebody else to tell us. Mithamo Thomas. My camera, I think, is fine. Is it probably you can reload your your big blue button. You can reload your portal. You can reload your browser, please. I don't know where else. Can anybody else see me? Mithamo, can you? Okay. Please, Mithamo, I think the rest can see. So please, you can reload your browser so that you can have my camera there. So somebody to tell me another relationship, one-to-many relationship. Something literal, something workable, something you can work with. One customer, multiple orders. That is true. Thank you, Warren. One customer, multiple orders. That is true. Another one. One router, multiple users. Yes, that is true. One router, multiple users. Thank you, Midhamo. And where are the ladies? The ladies, you've disappeared. Uko wapi Lucy? Lucy Wanjiru? Sylvia? Has Michelle left us? Michelle. Sylvia? Lucy? One class, many students. That is true, Michelle. Abdirashid, that is true. One country, multiple counties. That is very true. Thank you. Yeah. So, one country, multiple counties. One galaxy, many planets. True, Aura. That is true. Yeah. So now that is what we have. Then now next. So let us now move on. Next, we have many to many. So we have one to one, we have one to many, and then we have many to many. These are the three cardinality ratios. So many to many is where we have many classes associated to many, or many objects, many objects associated to many objects. So many objects of a class A associated to many objects of a class B. So we can have something like many students are taught by many teachers. Yeah. We can, and this is how we describe it. This is how we look at it. Many to many. This is how many to many looks like. This is how many to many. Can you see many to many? So this is how many to many relationship looks like, right? Many to many. So you have Many students are taught by many teachers. Now, can you see this confluence? Where is it? This one, this confluence here. This confluence and this other confluence here. Yeah. So it branches out here and it branches out here, many to many. So mahali unaona many ni lazima kukuwe na hii branching. Mahali unaona many ni lazima kukuwe na branching. So many to many, and this is how we write the cardinality ratio, m to m. You remember 1 to many, 1 to m, 1 to 1, 1 to 1, 1 to m, and then many to many, m to m, m to m. So that is what we call a many to many relationship or cardinality ratio. Somebody to tell us another example of many to many cardinality ratio. Many to many, many to many. Many schools, many learners. That is true, Michelle. Many schools, many learners. Many students belong to many classes. True. Many orders, many customers. That is true. Yeah. Many orders, many customers. Many criminals, many jails, many professionals. Mithamo, many professionals, many professionals, many professions, many professionals. Oh, okay. Yeah, many professions, many professionals. Many songs can be in many albums. True, Warren, that is true. Yeah. So now let us reach there. Let us reach there. So now we have seen the cardinality ratios, we have seen the types of associations, we have seen types of relationships. So I want you to now this is what I'm going to require you to do. There is a PDF I shared. There's a PDF I shared. So there's a PDF I shared. So you're going to study that PDF from page 1 to page 9. Page 1 to page 9, page 1 to page 9. That is where we have covered for today, and that is going to help you also to know better the things that we have talked about. There is an area I've skipped intentionally from page 1 to page 9. There's an area I've skipped intentionally, object-oriented design and object-oriented analysis, because we are going to look at that still in another topic as per your course outline. So apart from that, anything else from page 1 to page 9, apart from analysis and design, everything else, look at that, so that the next time when we meet, we are going to have, you're going to continue from there. Right now, I want to close the session because there is an online meeting with the Vice Chancellor that is ongoing, which I also have to attend. So any other question, any concern before we close the session? I assume that Michelle is still the, where is somebody else? Michelle and who was this guy? The guy, this class rep. Or who is the class rep? Washira, yeah. All right. So okay then. So Michelle and Washira, you have, I think I don't have your number. It's It's a long time since I taught you, so hizo namba nilifuta. Nafutanga namba za watu tulimalizana, yeah, ya students wenye tulimalizana during their semester. So please send me your numbers via WhatsApp through my number 0711 809 Everyone else, you can also save that number 0711 809 but for the class reps, Michelle and Washira, you will send me your number to my WhatsApp, and then now we can be able to reach out from there. Yeah, so most of the time you'll find that you are not able to call me because sometimes I put that SIM card off for some reasons. So there's another number which I use, but the one which I would prefer that we use is 0711 809 712, and that one for WhatsApp will work well. All right, any other concern before I exit? Any other concern? Any other concern? Okay, then if there is nothing else, if there is nothing else, then I'm going to close the session so that I can attend that online meeting. So let us meet in the next class, and hope you'll have a good day. So bye. Okay, then we meet the next class.